Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back, and if you haven't been here before, welcome. I am Kira, the owner of Crow and Thistle, and for those of us who are Witch Talk refugees, I hope to make this a place of learning and community, and so I hope that you'll hang out maybe by hitting the subscribe button, giving me a like so that we can stay in communication and follow each other. Today, I want to talk about divination. And divination can be a super intimidating word because some of us were imbued with like a natural gift toward divination, and others, it's a whole learning process. And of course, as witches, we have to practice our craft all the time, regardless of whether that's spell work or divination or whatever. But some forms of divination take a lot more practice and a lot more learning than others. And that's why today, instead of focusing on spirit boards or tarot or astrology, I want to focus on pendulum. Now, right off the bat, before I even get into any of this, I have to apologize for my sound quality. We moved and my mic magically disappeared and I cannot locate it anywhere. So until I locate it or until I purchase a new one, whichever comes first, I hope that you'll just bear with me. And I promise to get this whole situation under control as fast as I can, okay? But until then, pendulums. So a pendulum, typically made out of some sort of crystal. Mine is made out of black tourmaline and moonstone. Now, how you choose your pendulum is going to be completely up to you. Some people just order them online. That's it. They find one that they like. This looks pretty. I'm going to use this one. Others are drawn to a certain type of crystal. There is one that they maybe work best with, and so they opt for that type of crystal. Personally, I went into a metaphysical store, kind of looked around, waited for something to pop out to me, held it in my hand, checked to see if that particular energy resonated with me, and when I found one that did, that was the one I purchased. And so far, we've worked very well together, so no complaints yet. When it comes to using a pendulum, there are a couple of different ways that you can go about doing it. First, you can use a pendulum board, which is kind of similar to a spirit board, but on a much smaller scale. Generally, they're round, maybe about this big. Generally have a sign for a yes, a no reading. Sometimes they offer up a maybe. I personally have never used a pendulum board. I just go by the energy in my own body and what the pendulum offers me as answers. Now, when using a pendulum, there are some things that you want to keep in mind. First and foremost, you need to find a way to activate the energy within you so that your pendulum and your internal energy, hello Abby, so that you can form a connection and your pendulum can give you an accurate reading. What I like to do when I'm going to do a session with my pendulum is a really fun, quick little trick that I actually taught my sons when they were very small and wanted to kind of get a grasp for that energy feeling and how to activate it within themselves. Is I take my palms and I rub them together. Now, I get all of my energy sensations in my hands, so anytime I get a sixth sense about something, or an ancestor or spirit or guide or the universe or whoever is trying to give me some kind of information, I always get a tingle in the center of my palms first. I think that that's a hereditary thing, and I can go into that later. However, what I like to do is just rub those palms together. And eventually I will get an energetic connection. And I can pull my palms apart and manipulate them in different directions. And it will feel like there is a string connecting one palm to the other. And I can feel it pulling in every direction, just like there's some sort of elastic band connecting my palms together. And if you've not tried that, I definitely suggest that you do. It just takes a couple of rubs with your palms together and then a slow pull. And initially you might only be able to pull them just slightly apart to get that sensation, but eventually you'll kind of be able to manipulate that energy further and further apart and be able to feel that connection between your palms. And that's how I know that everything is activated and I'm ready to go. Now, if you want to snuff that out, all you have to do is put it against your stomach, let that energy collapse back into yourself. But I'm not going to do that right yet because I'm trying to keep myself going. She's my co-star today. Now, once you have got yourself activated, you want to take your pendulum. Now, I personally do not rest my lower hand on any kind of surface. A lot of people do, just to keep their hand steady and avoid any possibility of interference from shaky hands, bumping, moving, anything like that. I personally don't do it. I just feel like there's interference if I rest my hand on another object. Most things have some sort of energy within them, and I don't want any kind of energy transference from that object into my hands or my body physically. So just me in the air, that's it. When you initially pull your pendulum out, you want to just let it dangle, hangs loose, and then go ahead and grasp it within your palm. Let your energy transfer into your pendulum so that you can get it activated. Once it is activated, lower your palm. Make sure that your pendulum is not touching your palm in any way. And sometimes you can see it shake. Now, mine's starting to go right there. Now, the first thing that you want to do is to set your pendulum to make sure that you're going to get a reading that you understand. You need to make sure that you know what a yes answer looks like and what a no answer looks like. So, that's all you have to do. Set your pendulum over your hand and simply say, pendulum, show me a yes. And as you can see, a circle is my pendulum's yes, at least in this instance. Stop. And we've come to a stop. Okay, so we've seen a yes. Let's see a no. Pendulum, show me no. Okay, we've got a pretty strong back and forth motion, so that is our no, at least for mine. Pendulum, stop, please. Okay, and so we've come to a rest, and I'm going to go ahead and close my hand on it. So, now we've seen a yes and a no, at least from my pendulum, and that's how you can go ahead and get your yes and no from your pendulum. Now, if it doesn't give you a yes or a no right away, you can repeat your question. You can close your palm around it again to try and reestablish that energetic connection, and ask again. Be patient. Sometimes it takes a whole minute to get the feel of it, let it get the feel of you, get your answers the way that you're wanting them. Now, once you've got your yes and your no established with your pendulum, you need to ask some qualifying questions because we need to make sure that it's accurate, right? They have to be yes or no. Like, first and foremost, it cannot be a what is question, right? It has to be a question like, is my name Kira? Do I identify as female? Am I the owner of Crow and Thistle Apothecary? Do I have 2 sons? I like to lie to it to see if it will catch me in a lie. Reestablishing my connection, waiting for it to come to a stop. So you can see my connection is still good as it sits and vibrates above my hand. Pendulum, is my name Kira? So, it is answering me in the affirmative. That is in fact my name. So, it is correct. Pendulum stop. Now, let's lie to it. Or at least ask it an inaccurate question, shall we? Pendulum. Do I have 1 cat? It is answering in the negative because I am an old cat lady. I do have 5 cats. I call them the supernatural cats because their names are Rowena, Kane, Meg, Castiel, and Abaddon. So, we have a no. Pendulum stop. And I do tell it to stop in between every question to make sure that we are not still swinging from the other questions. You can close your hand around it in between questions to establish that stop and keep the energy flowing if you choose to do that. If I notice that there's a connection, sizzling out on the energy between me and my pendulum, I'll sometimes go ahead and do the closure. Otherwise, I'll just keep asking questions until I feel like I'm out of questions to ask. Now, of course, you can call on your spirit guides, your ancestors, and try to channel them through your pendulum. That, of course, is something that may take some practice unless you already have a really good connection with those guides. As always, practice makes perfect. And sometimes things can get a little bit frustrating before they get really clear. And it's important that we don't lose sight of what we're trying to do or lose confidence in ourselves as witches just because we might not get something right off the bat. Just remember, some of us are really good at spells, and some of us are really good at divination, and some of us are really good at kitchen witchery, and others have to practice really hard at some of this stuff, right? So give yourself time, practice, learn, do what feels good to you, and eventually you'll get the hang of it. I'm certain of it. I know you can do it. My faith is in you. I know. So definitely give it a try. And in the meantime, stay safe out there, please, because there's some weird stuff going around. And again, follow me, give me a like, subscribe, all of those things. And we'll be back with more videos soon. And definitely check out our website. It's linked in the description. It's everywhere. So we hope to see you again. And I hope that this video, sends you down a path of discovery. And until next time, we'll talk soon.